Never did I think I would see the day that Star Wars would be reduced to a colossal failure that is the Acolyte series by Leslye Headland that stars Amandla Stenberg as Osha and May. This thing is currently at 13% on Rotten Tomatoes on the audience scale, and it really shows, it's very revealing about how the Star Wars fans feel about the overall direction by Disney, by Bob Iger, by Lucasfilm, and their overall incompetence over there and their deliberate agenda, and how Kathleen Kennedy really just plans to not stop at all. We already talked about how there's a lot of conversations happening right now behind closed doors that Kathleen Kennedy wants to extend her contract beyond 2024. I don't know if you guys knew this, but this very year marks the end of her contract with the ability to renew it yet another 3 years. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So, the Acolyte series, episode 3 and 4, I think is what did it for fans. A lot of fans just aren't even really interested anymore when it comes to Disney Star Wars. The Rey movie's not helping at all by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, the director of that movie, after saying that it's all about not listening to the fans, that it's all about diverting away from what George Lucas had created 40 plus years ago. Well, things got even worse for Bob Iger and for the Disney heads and their financial situation with the Acolyte series and what's going on over there. Let's discuss, shall we? Now, specifically, we know that no matter what they do, no matter what kind of damage control that they engage in, it's not going to fix the fans' overall mind, right? How they actually perceive this series, what they actually think about the show. So with the Acolyte backlash only worsening with each episode that debuts on Disney+, one significant development going on right now has much to do with the financial situation related to the Acolyte series and how Disney lost millions more due to the backlash. One crucial update to this scenario now involves how the Walt Disney Company / Lucasfilm recently made yet another decision to dismantle other very expensive set pieces that were specifically meant for the Acolyte Season 2, which by the way is now in shambles and not moving forward at all anymore. Something that Kathleen Kennedy and Leslye Headland are endlessly battling Disney over to reinstate the Acolyte for a second season. The handful of set pieces that were recently dismantled and weren't able to be salvaged for another production recently lost Disney around $10 million right off the bat, apart from what we talked about previously a couple of days ago. However, to make matters even worse, more merchandise for the Acolyte was also cancelled and will no longer be moving into retail or online stores, and even at the theme parks, and whatever merchandise moves its way into stores will be reduced by 30 to 35% when it comes to the price tags, like Galaxy's Edge and the theme parks, for example. Many of these products that were, of course, made and now cancelled consisted of some special figurines, certain lightsaber hilts, and even wardrobe catered to the Acolyte series that recently got discontinued, even after producing these items. This cost Disney millions upon millions more, and lost them millions in that process as well, which is the true revelation that the majority of fans really want nothing to do with the Acolyte series at all. Apart from the merchandise failing miserably when it comes to pre-sales for the Acolyte, parts of the Acolyte Season 2 were also shot during the same time of filming the Acolyte Season 1, as a form of an opening scene for the second season that is now going to a complete waste. The entire scene reportedly cost Disney $12 million to film and consisted of a 10-minute sequence with a mixture of using the stagecraft technology and on-location shots in Scotland as well, as usage, of course, of CGI that was very expensive in the long run. The main reason why Leslie's overall scene and the structure of this sequence was, of course, given the okay to film for the Acolyte Season 2 was to use this as a form of an epilogue to Season 1 that was going to serve as a bridge between the first and the second season. This entire sequence is now getting cancelled and axed, and hence will not be promoting the Acolyte Season 2 in that light. Something that both Leslye Headland and Kathleen Kennedy are furious about, and it's already creating a massive divide between Bob Iger and those at Lucasfilm. Dave Filoni reportedly was also involved in this scene that cost and lost Disney $12 million. They, of course, also included a very expensive practical effects with the use of puppeteers in the process. This scene was also going to be used in 2026 for the Acolyte Season 2 that would focus on the Master Sith Lord-esque villain in the series that goes under the codename Shadow. Now guys, let me just stop here before I move on. Now, the fact that they have a lot of merchandise sales nosediving when it comes to pre-sales, a lot of merchandise that's not even going to be making it to the shelves anymore, and they also shot a exclusive scene for Season 2 that is now no longer moving forward, that was going to, like I said before, be attached to both Season 1 and Season 2. So they were going to use it as an epilogue, so to speak, for the current one, and using it as an opening for the next season, which is in shambles, like I said before as well. Now, interestingly enough, we know that Bob Iger really is trying to defend the show at all costs. As we talked about previously, he is blaming everything on loud, opinionated fans that are the minority, that this is nothing more than a marketing mishap, perhaps, and it's the same corporate speech, rinse and repeat, that he did with The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker, Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi. It's the same exact thing over and over, and it gets very tiresome, but hey, it's Bob Iger after all, as well as Bob Chapek did the same exact thing back then as well with other Star Wars productions. So, both Bob Chapek and Bob Iger, as far as I see things, they're very bad in their own unique ways, but I think that Bob Iger really takes the mantle there. I think he really dethrones Bob Chapek as the worst Disney CEO. Moving on forward, already Bob Iger and the board are planning to create another emergency meeting for the final week of June on cost cutbacks for the Acolyte marketing. Many commercials are now also getting cancelled that were already produced that Disney invested in, so now you also have specific commercials that were created for the Acolyte that are also getting axed, that cost Disney a lot of money. Now look, we know that there's a lot of things that Disney has done over the course of, the last, I would say 5.5 years, that really has not been resonating well with fans at all. I mean, when you look at all these different productions, Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi, even Ahsoka was a little divisive to an extent. A lot of people just did not enjoy that show. I myself included was not a fan of Ahsoka, but at least it wasn't an atrocity like the Acolyte series. I mean, the Acolyte makes everything else look like you can actually deal with it. It makes everything else, like The Last Jedi, look reasonable. That's how bad the Acolyte is as far as I see it, and as far as many of you guys out there see it as well. So, this whole financial situation for the Acolyte series, it's not a big shocker at all. It's not a big surprise because this is Disney Star Wars after all. But at the same exact time, what's an even more mind-boggling scenario is that they keep doubling down. They will just move on to a new face, a new creator that's going to be new to the audience, that's going to make them think, oh, well, maybe this is going to be different. That's why they're using Charmin Obaid-Chinoy for the upcoming Rey Star Wars film, who is no better than Leslye Headland, by the way, if not equally as bad. So overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.